That's it. Am I really when I first met Mahatma Krishna Sukhanand and others, they were. I remember this is half a century ago. They taught Vedanta. So Vedanta and the Vedas and the Upanishads, they talk about desires, how dangerous desires are. You know, most scriptures that you read, and then most gurus, they talk about how dangerous desires are. And my reading before that, I read the Gospel of Ramakrishna, which can be very confusing, and the Gita. They all say how dangerous desires are. And Ramakrishna really spoke very harshly about worldly people that were just wild and crazy about the world and wanted to fulfill all their desires, and how bad and how dangerous that is, and how that you'll never find peace, never find satisfaction, you'll never find bliss. And so I believe that literally. I was afraid of desires. And at the time, I didn't really have any desires, so it wasn't a problem. I was still young. But as I matured and started to develop, and when I came back from India back into the Western culture and was exposed to everything in the West, which is at that time, that's before India started to be westernized. India wasn't westernized back then, just a little bit, not like it is now. It's become very westernized now. It's going to become more westernized. There's a stark difference between India and the US. So I was afraid of desires. Wrongly so, because I didn't understand. So I learned from experience about what that meant. Now I can go back and I can read the Guru Gita, and I can read the Upanishads and the writings of Ramakrishna and Yogananda, and have full understanding of what is meant by desires. What they said is completely true. Desires are going to come. That's why you're here. You're here because you want to be here. Nobody forced you to be here. God didn't force you to be here. You came here. God provided this world for you. God made this world for you to fulfill your desires, for you to enjoy it. That's the purpose of creation. But what it's meant is that if you dedicate your life to God, to introspection, meditation, realization, then you have to put your focus on your sadhana, and desires can ruin your sadhana. Meaning you're practicing your sadhana every day, and you also have desires, which is a perfect combination. Practice your sadhana and have your desires. You do both. That's what I found. And then I go back, and that's what Lahiri Mahasaya said. That's what many gurus said. Live your life in the world, but practice your sadhana. You put your sadhana first. Don't put the desires first. So the problem is when you put the desires first. If you wake up in the morning, if you have a desire, I've studied desires to see exactly how they progress. It first starts with something is introduced to you through words or through pictures or through real life, and you like it. So you want that, or you want to do that. So it's just a little seed is planted in your mind. It's not troublesome, but it starts to grow because you start thinking about it. So you're introduced to something, you like it, and the more you think about it, you're providing fuel for that desire. Desire starts to grow. And I've experimented with myself. If you just rush out immediately to fulfill your desire, that's bad. So the desire comes, but focus on your sadhana, not the desire. That's where the problem starts. The desire is not a problem. The problem is when you stop your sadhana. Sadhana is God communion. That's what sadhana is. So when you stop your God communion, when you forsake God for your desires, what that means. Christian philosophy has it all wrong, and that with their dogma, they make it seem like if you don't focus on God and you focus on your desire, that you'll be eternally damned or something like that. That isn't like that. It's just a mistake, and we learn from our mistakes, just like a child. So if we put our desires first, we're going to have a miserable life. Nobody's an exception to that. I was just, the story of King William the sixth, seventh, I believe, who a real beautiful, handsome man when he was young, beautiful physique, beautiful face, and he he fell and the horse fell on top of him, and badly injured his leg, and so that's what led to his death. So it was a horrible, terrible death. So here he is at 17, he became king, so he has everything. But then he had a long, beautiful body, beautiful face, and then the king. But he had a long, progressive, horrible death. And it was a real nasty death. And he was the king. There's nothing he could do to prevent it. So something always happens to all of us. We're going along fine, and then something stalls us or gives us a hiccup that redirects our intention, interrupts our sadhana, vies for our attention. So if you let desire interrupt your sadhana, that you're going to have trouble. That's all it means. It's going to be troublesome. If it's a very strong desire, then it once you thought of it, then it starts to bring up in your
Pranam, Guruji.
Starts to bring up in your subconscious desires, meaning your karma, your vasanas. It starts fueling that, and then that comes from down below the subconscious, and it comes up into the conscious, and it goes into your heart, and then you start to have a heartfelt desire, meaning with reckless abandon, you forget your sadhana, you forget your guru, you forget all the good things, and you focus only on this desire. It doesn't matter. The desire can be a good desire. It can be a bad desire. You lose your intention, you lose your focus on God. The stronger and stronger the desire becomes, to the point of where there's no turnaround. To turn yourself around is practically impossible by yourself. All of you have experienced this. So I'll just use something simple as an example. This was some time ago. This is when cell phones just came out. First cell phone I had was it wasn't even a handheld. It's a cell phone I had in my Range Rover. That was the first cell phone that was available to everybody. So I had a cell phone in my Range Rover. And then when the handhelds came out, I had a Samsung phone, just a regular little cell phone. And it stopped working. I had to have self-service up in the mountains. And then I saw an advertisement for a Samsung phone, a flip phone. Uh, Never, and that's when the flip phones just came out. So that uh, presented that desire to me. I need a phone. Mine's broken, and I want to get this new phone. Well, I was high up in the mountains. There was nothing close by. Taken back then, it would have taken a long time to get it by mail. And you have to transfer the number and all that. So uh, I, I left where I was staying and I got in the uh, suburban and I went to the next town in the mountains, which is a pretty big ordeal to find a Samsung store. But I remember the progression of my desire. My desire became stronger and stronger and stronger to where I had no peace. I couldn't focus. I couldn't do anything. I had to have that phone. So I know what it's like when you have to have something. But it can be a person too. You like a person, you want to be with them, you love a person, or it can be your parents, it can be your child. Maybe your child has gone off to visit relatives and you start really missing your child. It can be situations. Maybe you want to go to the Himalayas, maybe you want to go to the ocean, or maybe you want to go somewhere, but you find yourself all the time thinking about it. And then when you wake up in the morning and you're ready for your meditation, the thought's there. And the meditation, the kriyas, the methods don't do anything. I mean, I've experienced this. I've done. If I was agitated, I would do kriya pranayama after kriya pranayama after pranayama. I said, well, this will work. It never worked because I was too worked up. So through my long experience of many decades, this is what I found out. And I'm going to read to you from the Guru Gita. I just happened to find this by accident. The Guru Gita, which is the song of the Guru. The ideal of perfection, the necessities for attainment, the perfection of all desires and liberation are given. Whatever desires are contemplated, wherever, then and there, with no doubt, they will be attained. Whatever desires are contemplated, wherever, then and there, with no doubt, they will be attained. So your desires will be attained. So I found out that any desire that I contemplated, that desire is fulfilled. If I continue to do sadhana, if I continue to put God first. If I put the object of my desire first, it was always elusive, or it would turn bad. In other words, I would think that I had it, but I didn't have it. I lost it again. But if I did my sadhana and also pursued my desire, did my sadhana, put that first, every one of my desires were fulfilled. And I can give you hundreds of instances, personal stories where the desires, the fulfillment came from no doubt, divine intervention. I'll just give you the first one that I think of. I've always been a lifelong weightlifter, and I was staying at my brother's for some time. He had a house on the beach, and I didn't have very many possessions with me, but I had a pair of dumbbells that I carry with me, and so I would work out with those. And I had a barbell and I had some plates, but I didn't have a bench to do bench presses. So I was out in the yard working out, and I was really wanting a bench press, an incline bench press. It's a rather big it's made particularly for weightlifting. And back then there were no stores where you could buy one. You had to order it, then it had to come by truck.
Pranam Guruji.
Home touch set. So I would go outside and I would lift weights, and it came time to do those exercises that would require a bench, and there were quite a few exercises that require a incline bench. You can do flat presses, you can do incline presses, you can do curls, you can do leg curls, you can do abdominal work. So that became a very prominent desire. And then I heard a voice. There's a man next door looking up over the fence, and he said, I see you working out over there. I have an incline bench press that I never used. Would you like to have it? I said, yeah, sure. So I wanted an incline bench press. It was impossible for me to buy one, and that desire was fulfilled. And I put it where I work out, and there I had the desire for incline bench press, and there it is right in front of me. I didn't buy it. I didn't go out to procure it. It just dropped right in front of me. My neighbor next door didn't even charge me any money. I could tell you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories of that with objects of all sorts. And I've had elaborate desires. I've had very luxurious desires, very expensive desires, and also desires for situations that were impossible, desires for people that were impossible. And every single desire, there's not a single desire in life that I have anymore. Every single desire has been fulfilled. And many of them are impossible, elaborate desires. Some of them one of a kind. You'd say, well, this is impossible. I was just going over this morning, thinking of desires about how it works. And then I came across this page in the Guru Gita that presents it in a very well articulated way. So in your life, you don't have to give up desire. It's just the opposite. If you have a desire, you have to acknowledge it. Otherwise, if you try not to procure it, it's gonna remain in your stockpile of karma, unfulfilled. You can meditate and meditate all you want, but this desires will still be there. Meditation isn't going to destroy the desire. Desire is still there. Desire, because the desire has to be fulfilled. Has to be. That's the law of karma. Every desire has to be fulfilled. Every one of your desires will be fulfilled. Every one of mine were fulfilled. For objects, situations, people. Every single one. Whatever desires are contemplated, wherever, then and there, with no doubt, they will be attained. Meaning anything that you want, God will provide it for you. It is the cow that fulfills all desires, the one who is desirous and allows to attain the thinkable and the unthinkable. It is the gem of all thoughts to the thoughtful and cause of all welfare. The one who always recites desiring liberation, meaning thinking in your heart, I want liberation. You can think it in your mind, but better is to think it in your heart, meaning to feel it in your heart. Will obtain the radiance of liberation. Now, I told you yesterday, I meditated 18 hours a day, and was a sannyasin. But I had beautiful, perfect meditations from day one, for the whole entire time I was there, by the Ganges, practicing tapas. it wasn't until I came back into the world that desires started to present themselves. I can't think of a single desire I had during that time, but it had to be. I had to come into the world and fulfill those desires, and uh, they were all fulfilled. It was kind of rough because I didn't understand the process. Um, it couldn't have been explained to me uh, in a way that I would understand it unless I went through the process. Then with the explanation, uh, the process, uh, the understanding that comes from that, I was able to facilitate new desires even quickly by concentrating on them wholeheartedly, 100%, but always with God first. So God first, and then 100% on my desires and my actions to attain my desire. Meaning through whatever I could possibly do that was honest and required hard work. I would do that. That would help facilitate the accomplishment of the desire. But I always put God first. So I always put sadhana first. And then in the midst of my desire, uh, God was first. God, and then the desire. And then I didn't try to renounce the desire. How can you do it? You can't. You can't renounce the desire. I've been with many sannyasins that try to remove the desire for lust or women. Some have been successful. Most of them, probably 98% of them, were not successful. And these are very strong-minded Indians that I'm referring to. And they were sannyasins. They were monks, but they all still had the thought, still had the idea. Ramakrishna had admitted that he had the idea. Uh, um, Raquel, Swami Ramanand, who became Swami Ramanand, uh, he before he met Ramakrishna, he became married because he had that desire. He had the desire for some time. Ramakrishna said that that's why he got married, was to fulfill that desire. Um, so I found that whatever desire came up, I would see if it was frivolous or was it uh, uh, did it have substance? Meaning that it was it something good, something constructive. Uh, it didn't matter if it was my personal desire, but I'm not. Uh, other people's desires don't come up into my consciousness. That come into my awareness. If I see that their desires for something, I'll try to help them fulfill their desire. But these are my desires. So I found that if I gave it 100% attention and energy, that it would help facilitate the uh, desire. Um, some desires took a very short time to fulfill, and some desires took a longer time to fulfill, uh, several years or uh, 10 years. Those were the longer ones, even probably my strongest desire. It took 30 years to fulfill that desire. But all that time I did sadhana. Now, if I hadn't uh, done the work necessary and uh, on what I was desirous of, in other words, what I was interested in, uh, it wouldn't have been fulfilled. If I just meditated, it wouldn't have been fulfilled. The desire in the field of action, meaning in life, had to be fulfilled. But if you hold on to God and then work for your desire at the same time, you're not going to get lost, not at all. As long as you have God, you're never going to be lost. Uh, Shakti, the sun, Ganpati, Vishnu, and Shiva, it, uh, it will give attainment. It is true. It is true with no doubt. Uh, I will tell you the places to recite for the fulfillment of desires. Now, what does that mean to recite the fulfillment of desires? Now, here, the scripture is referring to the Gita, to the Guru Gita. Well, what if we don't do this using the Guru Gita? What if we do this using Kriya Yoga? Guru Gita and Kriya Yoga are really the same. It's a different Kriya, but it's really in the same field. It has the same result. So the practice of fulfilling desire is what? Number one, it would be action. It would be Kriya. It would be practicing the Kriya. That's number one. If you, whatever desire you have, if you practice Kriya, that's the first action you do to attain that desire. Now, you say, well, I practice Kriya for um, uh, self-realization, for God realization. That's what I say. And I say, put an emphasis on that. I practice Kriya to fulfill my desires. Is that contradictory to what I said? It could be to those who aren't attending the satsang to have it clarified, but then they're not hearing what I'm saying about desires either. So the best places to fulfill your desires is to always practice Kriya, meaning Kriya Pranayama and the Kriyas, introspection. At the sea, on the bank of a river, or in the temple of Vishnu or Shiva. So I would do that exactly. In other words, to practice your Kriya in the temple of Divine Mother. And I would do that also. I would go to the Kali temple in Dakshineswar and practice Kriya there. In all the places sacred to God under a banyan tree. I practice Kriya under a banyan tree for big, huge, beautiful banyan tree. And I only practice under that banyan tree for hours in the early morning hours. And in the late evening hours, I would practice Kriya under there's some big, beautiful banyan tree. It was in the backyard in the house that I lived in Coconut Grove in Miami. In a field. Field is also an excellent place. I meditate in the field. The field is a big open spot, so you have big sky. Beautiful place to put your tiger skin, put your silk cloth, or use wool instead of a tiger skin, and then do your asana and do your Kriya practice. Or in a delightful forest, or in a grove of basil plants. Ramakrishna, when he set his place of worship, his place of tapas, there's a beautiful little spot. You can't get to it now, they have it fenced off. But it was a little grove of all the auspicious plants, and of course the banyan tree also. And he planted more of the auspicious plants, and that is where he went to meditate. It's an incredible, beautiful place. One should perform the vows of purifying austerities. Read the Mahabharat and all the powerful ones. Ravana was very powerful. He became powerful through austerities and through worshiping Shiva. If you worship Shiva and perform austerities, you start to God starts to give you not only love but also power. Now, if you don't have full-hearted love for God, if you have love for other things as well, those things are going to come to you. God is going to fulfill your desires. If you have some wickedness in you, like he did, there'll be some bad situations and some bad results. So always make sure that what you desire is wholesome and good. Never, if you have any wicked desires in you, now those are the ones that you do renounce. Meaning the evil, bad things. You should never ever practice austerities, ever practice Kriya for the purpose of fulfilling evil desires. You shouldn't have any corruption, or that type of corruption in you. Now, what are the evil, the really corrupted desires? Well, Jesus speaks of them in the Bible. They're talked at in minute detail in some of the scriptures. Alcohol. Should never drink alcohol. It's very corrupting. Smoking, not so much. Trying to think of evil. It's hard for my mind to think of evil things. Nothing comes to mind. Well, there's lots of evil things, bad things out there. Stealing, okay, that's one. Jealousy is one. Lustfully looking at a man or looking at a woman, meaning lustfully would mean that you're meditating on that all your thoughts are about that, and your actions are in the attainment of that. That's not a wholesome desire. There's nothing wrong in the natural environment of sex per se, if it's loving and wholesome and good, but it shouldn't be a priority. Good wholesome desires, they should be a priority, so you can eliminate them. The bad, really bad desires are weakened and eliminated by putting your concentration on fulfilling your good desires. So if you have a bad desire, an evil desire, and let's say it comes up, it might come up. When you have the thought of something that is evil, something that's really bad, replace it by good action. I mean, okay, I also have some good desires. I'm going to concentrate on that. I'm going to enhance my good desires and fulfilling that. So you replace the good. Instead of the bad desire, the bad thought, you replace it with a good thought and a good action to fulfill your good desires. Here in the Guru Gita, they go into detail of places that are good for tapas practice, Kriya Yoga practice. And I did all of these when I was young and still do now. Perfection may be attained in the cremation grounds. I always loved meditating in the cremation grounds. Whenever I see them, even now, I'm drawn to them, because that's where I want to meditate. That's where Shiva resides, is in the cremation grounds. And in Jageshwar, they have the cremation. The cremation's almost continuous. The Jageshwar temple. You can go to the Jageshwar temple, and the cremation grounds are just right there, off from the temple. And it's auspicious for spiritual practice. Meaning you have the powers of Shiva that come to assist you in the fulfillment of your desires by stabilizing your meditation, stabilizing your devotion. The stronger your devotion to Shiva, the stronger your devotion, meaning to God, your desires, in the fulfillment of desires, your desires become fulfilled. In other words, it actually fulfilled. Shiva aids, Shiva helps in fulfilling that desire. I've had, gosh, every single good desire fulfilled, and there, in order for me to learn, I have had bad desires. I learned a lot from it. Everything that a human being could be subjected to as quote evil or bad, I've had in my mind. And I used to wonder why, as much as I want God, why do I also have evil desires? What does that come up? Doesn't make sense. I've left everything for God. That's all that I want. I've renounced everything, and yet I still, these evil desires come up. Wicked desires came up. And so why is this? I mean, I want God even from childhood, but I still have this wickedness in me. How, how else would I learn the process if I didn't go through the process myself? In other words, if there is a hopeless person that is wickedly attached to something evil, how do they get extricated from that? Well, I've learned the process of how to do it. I've done it. I've had it done. I'm free of all wickedness, of every wicked desire. I used to wonder why. Now I know why. So now I've experienced it. I've fulfilled it. I know how it works. I know how to do it, and I can make sure that others also can be saved from any type of wickedness. I can show them, teach them with Shakti, with energy, because I've gone through the process myself. It can be a hard process, but there's certain things that you do to extricate yourself from that. I don't just recite something good, inspiring things and say, well, just think good thoughts. People don't understand. If you can't just think good to good thoughts, because the bad desires that are way down deep in the heart that come up into your conscious, and of course the dirtiness, the evil is always seeping up into your mental consciousness that produces thoughts. So you can be, let's say you can be in a beautiful clean river, and there can be a waterfall, and you want to cleanse yourself, but you're standing down under the water, you're standing in the dirty muck. I've been to a lot of rivers. Some of the rivers are extremely dirty if you stand in them on the bottom. You're standing on the very bottom and you're washing and cleansing with nice pure water, but you're still can't extricate yourself from the mud and the dirt. So you take one foot out of the river and there's all this muck that's clinging to your feet and your legs. And you put the foot up and then you wash and wash and wash. But how can you put the other foot up and still reach the water? So there's an easy process of doing it, of being completely purified. And so every single desire has to be fulfilled. If you have bad desires, they have to be eliminated. If you have good desires, they have to be attained. Sometimes in order to eliminate a bad desire, it depends on a person's vasanas, their samskaras. Sometimes they have to go through the process. In other words, learn the hard way of going after the bad things. Yeah, you learn from that. What happens when you practice the bad things? Well, evil, wickedness, they take a hold of you. And then you learn the hard way that this is but what I desire is producing nothing but unhappiness and misery for me. At first, it seemed harmless. It seemed fulfilling, and I just tried a little bit, and now I'm just it has a hold of me. I can't get out. Like quicksand. And so, what do you do if that's the case? Well, you have to let the dirt out. You can't just renounce the dirt because the dirt's coming from inside your heart. All your karma is in your heart. All your karma. And then portions of the karma that leads like a tentacle to your heart situates itself at the various chakras for the various chakras of fulfillment of that desire. Bad desires go into the lower chakras, good desires go into the higher chakras. Like I said yesterday, instead of going after the leaves, go right to the root of the problem and cleanse there, which would be at the heart. Cleanse the heart. Perfection may be obtained in the cremation grounds. So we'll use a good example of that. Okay, let's say you have some bad desires. I know it's not convenient for everybody to go to a cremation ground, but if you did, uh, you would dispel that wickedness much, much faster. It would be Shiva would assist you in purging that evil. And I've meditated in the Jageshwar temple. It's I meditated in the cave where Shiva actually meditated. There's an eternal fire there that nobody has explanation for. Rashi, there, she and I were in the cave. Tanuja, she and I were in the cave. There's some photos of us in the cave of Shiva. There's an eternal fire there, and meditation in Shiva's cave is especially purifying. Meditation in the Jageshwar temple, any temple to Shiva, and the cremation grounds are especially purifying. Yes, question? Can't hear your voice. You turn your sound up. Can you type it up? Your microphone's not working. Cremation may obtain in the cremation grounds or any other fearful place. You know why this is? Uh, fearful places, it brings up the negativity. It brings up any connection to evil desires. It brings it up from the heart, and it brings it up into the field of purification to be purified. It has to come up from the depths first to be purified. Or any other fearful place, or the root of a banyan tree. So I've done all these things. Thinking now it's not because I knew to do that. I was just drawn to it. So I meditated under a huge, beautiful banyan tree for night and day for 3 years. I didn't know the banyan tree was especially auspicious. I hadn't read it. It's just something that I did, that I felt very, very drawn to.
Guruji.
On that step. Or fearful place. I was meditating cremation grounds. Cremation grounds. Shiva is in the cremation grounds, and Shiva shows you death. He shows you what leads to death, real death. And that's your evil desires lead you towards death. They actually lead you that way. If you go the way of evil, it leads you to the place of evil. If you go the way of God, it leads you to the place of God. Uh, at the root of a banyan tree, I meditate at the base of the banyan tree, or the root of a turag tree or a mango tree. I also meditated under mango trees. It's important to meditate in these places when the when the when it's available to you. Um, the children, disciples, meaning he's referring in the Guru Gita, the disciples of the Guru as children, which they are, that they may be fools, and they are fools. They can attain perfection in all pure actions, such as initiation. I told you how in ancient times you would be a guru's disciple, uh, sometimes for many, many years, sometimes 10 years before you had initiation. Now, initiation is very easy. Initiation by an enlightened guru is very easy. It's rare, but it's very easy. Performance of austerities. Kriya Yoga practices austerities. Ravana obtained tremendous power, even though it was wicked power by worshiping Shiva. And he obtained his powers through austerities dedicated to Shiva. So if I wanted to fulfill, and if I was really truly wanted to fulfill some wicked desires, I would perform austerities, meaning I would perform very stern austerities, and I would give it all to Shiva. That would be the quickest way. But it's very dangerous. It isn't. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Others cannot. In order to destroy the dirt of the world, of objects and relationships, it doesn't. I'm clarifying a lot of these things. It isn't that objects themselves are bad, although some objects could be used for bad. Primarily, they're created for bad. All objects can, if desired for the wrong purpose, are considered to be dirty. Well, there's nothing wrong with dirt per se. You're in the world, which is a world of dirt. So it isn't that we can avoid it. And then we have the seeds of the desires in our heart. So we're in the ocean sinking. Our ship is leaking and shipping in a big, huge storm. This is a situation that you're in. Each and every one of you. I have been in my whole life. And so this is the recitation of the Guru Gita. Your salvation is in the Guru. To be free from the bonds of worldly attachment. So many people suffer because of worldly attachment. And to understand this, I thoroughly went through so many worldly attachments, and in order to learn how to break free from those attachments. If I hadn't experienced them myself, how could I help others if I had never been under that influence before? But to have been under that influence and extricated myself, or have been extricated, I wouldn't have knowledge of that if I hadn't had experience of that. Now, I don't recommend that you have to gather the experience of that to have knowledge of that. I have knowledge of that. That's the only knowledge that you need. I had to have the knowledge of that, but you don't have to. I have it for you. Meaning you don't have to suffer. I had to suffer to understand. You don't have to suffer. If you follow the guru, you don't have to suffer with anything at all. When you have the guru takes that suffering from you. And if you're rebellious, you'll continue to suffer. Meaning, if you don't stay in contact with the guru, you're going to suffer. These things, I mean, I see it happen. I see the cause of it. Uh, People maintain very close contact with the guru, and then it starts to the contact starts to become less and less and less. And it's for various reasons. All of you know what the reasons are. I know what the reasons are. It's desire. You have desires for other things that keep you busy. Well, I'll choose to do this, and I'll choose to do this, and I'll choose to do this. Whereas before I knew exactly my path of salvation, and I'm still continuing to live in the world. And to be free, this is the Guru Gita, and to be free from the bonds of worldly attachment. The one who knows the principles. As told by the Guru, should always take bath of the company of the Guru. The company of the Guru purifies. He actually becomes one to the Guru through love for the Guru. And then we'll know the supreme divinity, meaning the Guru having overcome and been freed from all desires. By keeping company of the Guru, you'll also become free of all and fulfillment. You'll have fulfillment of your desires. And in the fulfillment of your desires, what did I say yesterday? You're fulfilling your desires. At the same time, you're practicing your sadhana first. And so you're not producing more karma. You're removing karma. You're not replacing more. So there's something that you want, person, situation, object. You've identified it as a strong desire, something that you really, really, truly desire. You can't just dismiss it because the thought keeps coming back. Go after the fulfillment of it. That's what I did. But at the same time, continue with your tapas and continue with your contact with the Guru. And then that Shiva, Kali, fulfills that desire for you. In other words, fulfills your desire, whatever it is that you desire. It's going to be attained. But you're continuing to purify yourself, so that doesn't increase the desire. That fulfills the desire. Because there's nothing to increase. You fulfilled it. You're not. There's. If you've fulfilled it, it's fulfilled. How would it produce any more desire? What the scriptures refer to, and some teachers refer to as the danger of desires, isn't in their fulfillment. It's in the trying to fulfill them. That's where the danger lies. It isn't easy to fulfill a material desire. It's really hard. And the worst part about it is it can take a long time. So your life is just so many breaths. So you might devote your whole life to obtaining the desire and never attain it in this life. You'll attain it in your next life. But you might not obtain it in this life. So you wasted a whole life there where you could have been fulfilling your desire faster and not having any desires in the future by staying close to your guru and practicing your Kriya Yoga tapas, your sadhana. By practicing your sadhana, you're not creating more desires. So you actively pursue your desire, your physical, material desire, while living your spiritual life. wherever he may go, with no doubt, all places become pure. Meaning you can, if you put the worship of the guru first, for example, uh, if you have a firm relationship, it doesn't matter where you go in this world of desires. You can go into the most wicked places, and there's no danger. You can go into the most worldly places, and there's no danger, because you see you've had a few desires that have been easily been fulfilled because you stay with your guru and you practice your tapas, which is the fulfiller of desires. Your worldly desire is fulfilled. And so you see the process. You've already gone through the process of understanding that worldly desires are only result in misery. So using an example, say there's a boy that you just have to have when you're in love with him. And so you see him and then you marry him, and then that great that man that you were so much in love with isn't so great anymore. Now what do? And you're stuck. And then say maybe you have a child, you're stuck even more. And you're becoming part of the family of the relatives, you're stuck even more. What do? Well, it's hard to extricate yourself from that situation. But in learning that, you're learning the object of my desire, which is all good. If you're in love with somebody, all you see is the wonderful thing. There might be some bad things that are there, but you don't even see them because you're so much besotted with the wonderfulness of your desire. But with all things worldly, they all show their truth at one time or another, meaning they all lead to misery. Every one of them. I'm trying to think of some exception. No, no exceptions. Wherever he resides, he maintains his attitude, meaning that attitude of righteousness, God first. Be him sitting or in a reclining posture, moving or still or speaking, riding upon a horse or an elephant, sleeping or awake, with pure mind, the wise will always be in tune with their guru. By merely having the intuitive vision of such a one, another life, another birth will not be known. The liberation. You'll never have another sorrow. You'll never have another hurt. You'll never be feeling like I'm stuck, can't get out, can't extricate myself. I pursued this desire with all my heart, and I've had my heart broken, and I can't get out of this situation. That'll never happen again. Wherever you go, you carry the torch, the light, the mantle of your guru, of Shiva. Protects you from all harm, protects you from curses. Just as water is contained within the sea, milk within milk, clarified butter within butter, the space within a container, just so the individual soul unites with Supreme Soul of existence. What does that mean? Supreme Soul of existence is everywhere. It's everywhere you are. It's here with me now. It's there with you now. You can see that. Others can't see that. So wherever you go, it doesn't matter. Ramakrishna he took some Ganges clay and he took some gold. Somebody had given him something made of gold. And he held one up. It was like a little figure or something. He held the clay up and held the gold up, and he threw them both in the Ganges. He said they're both the same. Why are they both the same? Worldly person, they say, you're a fool. You're a complete, absolute fool. You're throwing the gold away. You should throw the clay, but keep the gold, meaning clay is not useful in fulfilling my desires. With gold, I can buy it, what I want. It has value. That's what the worldly person thinks. I'll go buy what I want, but it doesn't give satisfaction. So that's what Ramakrishna meant, is that he doesn't see the difference. The desire is not going to produce any good result. It'll be, you'll have it, but it's not going to be, it's meaning a good result doesn't mean that it's wicked. It just means that you're not going to have that removal of duality, of trying to figure out ways, weighing options, looking at situations. How can I manipulate situations to fulfill my desire? You're not going to have any of that. You're just going to have pure vision. You can be with anything, you can do anything, and nothing is going to harm you. In this way, the wise unite the individual soul with the supreme soul of existence that's everywhere. The wise, wherever, whether day or night, take delight in this union. So you actually see and feel and live in God's presence, no matter what situation you're in, no matter what age you're in, no matter what your health is, whether you have everything physically or you don't have everything physically, whether you live in luxury, you live in poverty, makes no difference. So I told you that I lived in just a little hut at a dirt floor on the banks of the Ganges in Bardwar. I had no possessions other than an extra dhoti and a bowl and a blanket and a baraga. And I was perfectly happy, extremely happy, extremely, extremely happy. And then I've been in what's considered luxury, a private island on Miami Beach, and multi-million-dollar house, Mercedes cars, beautiful, healthy body, no problems. Could have whatever I wanted. No, just money was not an issue at all. I had any amount of money that I needed for what I wanted to do, which is just enjoy life. Go to the ocean and swim and eat good food and have fruits, maintain fruits in the backyard. Had a large mango tree, had a lemon tree, orange trees, all sorts of fruit bearing trees, just right there in the yard. Yeah, could go to Publix too. Pavarti, this is the Guru Gita, removing all doubts, he becomes liberated. He obtains both enjoyment of the fruits of all actions and liberation, otherwise known as God realization. God resides on his tongue. I mean, he sees God in everything, in the good and the bad. And all I can think of is Shiva, Krishna. Everything is God. So everything that's spoke of is in relation to God. When he sees the lemon tree and picks a lemon, he thinks of God. When he sees the the clouds parting in the blue sky, he sees God. Sunset, he sees God. When he wakes, he sees God. When he sleeps, he sees God. Uh, so, so you're no longer desiring objects because all objects are the same. Doesn't matter your situation. So I lived in a hut with a dirt floor. I was perfectly happy, and I lived in a very luxurious situation on a private island. Perfectly happy. I didn't see any. So what's the difference? I didn't see any difference. A worldly person would see nothing but difference. If you live in a luxurious situation like that, how could you possibly be happy living in a dirt floor, in a little hut on a dirt floor? Because you're happy inside. If you're happy and fulfilled on the inside, you can go anywhere and, and live anywhere and go into any situation without temptation. Temptations are only unfulfilled desires. That's all a temptation is. If your desire is fulfilled, then there's no temptations, is there? What is there to desire? All desires have been fulfilled. So, dedicating your tapas to Shiva brings about fulfillment of your desires. So you do your tapas and you pursue your desires in a calm, uh, uh, peaceful way, not that you have to rush and do something. You understand that Shiva is performing the action on your behalf. You don't have to be the doer. You don't have to pursue it. You have the desire, you acknowledge it, and you continue to worship God, do your tapas. And then whatever thing that is to be done on your part, you'll be inspired to do it. You'll be inspired by God, you'll be inspired by Shiva to do whatever's necessary on your part. You'll be inspired to do it, and you'll feel like it's a good inspiration. You know what good inspiration feels like. You're really inspired to do something. Living life inspired is real happiness. Waking up in the morning and not feeling inspired, it's real misery, isn't it? I'd never done that before, and I'd never woken up. I always woken up very enthusiastic about what I wanted to do. I never understood how somebody could wake up and be apathetic. Um, I understood through illness at some point, especially severe illness and being alone, that I started to feel apathetic because it was just I, I came to a point where I saw no hope, and I had no external support. I had no company of others to help lift me up. So I see in this world that some people are alone and they're sick. They're either sick in body, but some of them are also sick in mind, and I don't think totally alone. They don't have the support of anybody. There's lots and lots and lots of people in that situation. No, you can be perfectly healthy and you can be in that situation, or you don't have to be sick. You can be in hopeless, difficult situations. But I found that some physical disorder, some mental disorder, usually accompanies that type of uninspired, apathetic way of thinking when you wake up in the morning. That goes on throughout the day and then throughout the evening and throughout the night. And then again, repeats itself the next morning. Yes, Sonny?
Guruji, I just wanted to understand on the Kriya part. When you say that, so let's take if I have to overcome a desire, and it was what is interesting to me is thinking about going to a crematorium. Somehow that is something which I'm thinking that if I go there, there is dispassion. It just swells up on its own. And if I am sitting there and doing my kriyas, what do I do of the desire which I want to overcome? That I'm not sure. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
give those desires to Shiva, and Shiva will take care of it.
so what does it mean that I give it? Like when I'm doing my kriyas, do I focus on them because I leave the
No,
thoughts, right?
you don't focus on them. Okay. I'm sitting in the crematorium where they're cremating the bodies. In India, they do it outside, which is the best way to do it. Not the way they do it here. The way they do it here is really sterile. Nobody gets to witness it or see it. So you've identified your wicked desires, and you've identified your good desires. And you're wise enough in life. It probably took you many, many, many lifetimes to get to this point of wisdom that the bad desires lead in, into really bad things. And so you've identified it as bad. So you do your tapas, which Kriya Yoga I say is tapas, and you give your life when you sit down in your asana. You give your life to Kriya, to Shiva, for example. Is what I do. So here's my wicked, here's my bad, here's my good. Now Ramakrishna, he said this over and over. Yogananda said this over and over. But I'm explaining to you from my own personal experience. And say, here I am. Here's the good. Here's the bad. Here's the good. I'm giving you both. And so you give it all. You give it all to Shiva. And then in that, like as you said very well, in that dispassionate um, surroundings of the cremation grounds, you can feel the power of Shiva. And what does Shiva do? Uh, Shiva is the giver of dispassion and strength. So it's extremely purifying. They don't have cremation grounds here in America. So here in America, I would go to burial grounds, which is almost as good, not quite as good, but also a good place to meditate. So I would go there at night. So nobody's at a cemetery, I call them, at night because they believe in ghosts and all sorts of things. So you have the whole place to yourself. It's real quiet, and then all the dead are there to keep you company. And so you have to be dispassionate. Every single one of those people were like us. They had so many desires, and they had their life. They had their individual life, and they that they loved, and they had their own personal desires. And where are they now? Their their bodies being prepared to be burned. Their bodies been buried under the ground, 6 feet. That's where they are now. What progress did they make in fulfilling their desires? And it's only when all desires are fulfilled that you have liberation. If there's even one little tiny desire, liberation is not possible. So they all have to be fulfilled. And it can be done. I didn't think it could be done until it was done. I didn't think it was possible for me. I thought it only for the real exceptional souls it would be possible. But it's not. It's not. The souls are the ones that are exceptional. It means that they have the the guidance of an enlightened guru, or which is usually the case. This is why in India they respect really truly respect the guru, because they have this going back thousands and thousands of years of continual liberation in India from gurus and spiritual practice that we don't have in other countries. Yeah, so you do the same thing at home, but it's even more auspicious at the crematory grounds, but also on the river, any river. The sacred rivers are the best. In the temples, I particularly love that Jageshwar temple there in the Himalayas. I felt the power of Shiva there, and very, 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 very strongly. You hear a lot about in the beautiful Indian scriptures about the gods and the giving of boons. And Ramakrishna, being an avatar, when he was in the mood, sometimes he would give boons to the disciples. And they said it was just like a shower of boons, like a shower of rain that Ramakrishna would give to disciple, to disciple, to disciple. And the boon means fulfillment of desires, whatever your desire is. Sometimes he became in such a strong mood that he, whatever each particular disciple desired, he would give it to them. And they would never have that desire ever again. Ever. I mean, it was completed, it was finished. And then the Guru Gita says, everything said here, it is true again, it is true. This is the ideal of perfection that I've elucidated. There's nothing equal to the Guru Gita, the giver of boons. This is the truth. This is the truth. And I found that this is the truth. I've experienced it. During the process, I didn't know. I didn't understand. It was only until I had purity, meaning that all the vasanas had been removed, that I had understanding. You shouldn't expect to have perfect understanding until you have purity. There's always going to be some unfulfillment, some doubt, some gray area that needs clarification, that needs some light until you have purity. Purity is required. But then everything is light. Your whole life, the whole rest of your life is nothing but light. You don't have, you're never lost again, meaning you're never in a place where there's no hope. I know it, no hope. Feels like I never in my life had before, but I do now. Yeah, Punita, you have a question?
Yes, Guruji, pranam. Guruji, you were just referring to doing the tapas or austerity, and like one of the austerities, as you said, that you could go and do meditation or do kriya in, let's say, uh, a place where they burn the crematorium or that place. Now, I just wanted to know because there are spirits. Like, I mean, there are people who are dying, so there are spirits. So, does one go to a place like this? So, is there a way to protect oneself when you sit for your kriya, or there is no need?
No, Shiva is full is there, meaning present. Shiva protects you from everything. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about it. You're fully protected. Shiva's there. I mean, I've seen this. I didn't think it was literally true, but it's true. crematory grounds here in Jageshwar. I see this. I see Shiva there, and I never went into the crematory grounds, but when Archana and I would go to Gangaram Hospital from the ashram in Vaishali, which we did a lot because I was going to the hospital very, very frequently for those cancer treatments. And so the driver usually, always took us the same route. And it's there in Delhi. Archana or someone else can say exactly where it is, where there's a huge statue of Shiva at the front of the crematory, somewhat close before you get to the hospital. It's on the left side if you're going towards Gangaram. I couldn't stop because I was in too much pain to stop. I did get to the doctor, but I always, every time I wanted to stop and make that left turn into the cremation grounds there. Yes, there's no bad spirits that can hurt you. There's, until you're purified, impurities are bad spirits. And,
I was just thinking, I think it is what we fear actually lies within us. So when we are at a place like this, it just comes out, and somehow you will have to come face to face with it and deal with it. I think something like that happens.
well, you're right. The spirit is the unclean impression, which is that it's literally a spirit, and yeah, it does dwell within you. I mean, wherever you go, it's there. It accompanies you. You're not the body. You're the soul. But in the world, the soul goes where the body goes because you're attached to the body. And so wherever you go, your spirits go with you because they're attached to you. Those are the real ones to be afraid of, not the evil eye or the evil spells that people put on you, which are real. The ones that can really affect you are the ones that are already attached to you. Those are the ones that are harming you. Archana, you had something?
Pranam Guruji. Just something I wanted to share. Recently, on my trip from Delhi to Haldwani, there is a place where we crossed Ganges River, and there is this very ancient place, Garmukteshwar, which is supposed to be the place where first time Ganga was brought. So I was very curious, and the taxi driver was kind enough. So he drove me off the route to that village inside. It's a very ancient village with many, many ashrams there, and lot of temples there, which are very old temples. Something like how Jageshwar temples are even more ancient temples. But it's not a very refined, very beautiful place. Like, it's not been maintained like that. Not many people know about the place. So I went into one very old temple, and when I entered there, it was very interesting, and there were a lot of things which are to talk about that. But the main thing I wanted to mention here is that when I went into the temple, the pujari, the priest there, told me that this is the place where Naga sadhus do their sadhana. So, and he said, go walk and you go behind the temple, and there is a place, very peaceful hall, where Parshuram is a very ancient rishi in India. Guruji he's one of those rishis who's supposed to be ever living. He's one of the great saint who's like Hanuman. He's supposed to be ever living. So he said,
Yes,
just walk
Chiranjeevi.
there, and that's the place where Parshuramji used to do his tapas, and the trees there under which he used to do tapas. So it's a very peaceful place. So I walked to the place, but I didn't realize that path was on both sides were hundreds of samadhis of siddhas. I've never seen a place like that before. It was so peaceful. It was so inviting. There were, I think there were many, many ancient samadhis. All the siddhas who have done tapas there, they were all sitting there, Guruji. You know how the samadhis of saints are, they are made, they sit cross-legged and they build a kind of a small platform, a kind of a tomb over that. So there were hundreds, I think there were thousands probably, small and big, all on the both sides. And it was such a peaceful place that I wanted never to, I mean, I just wanted to sit there and do meditation there, which was a very unique place. And it's probably a very unique opportunity for yogis to go there and be able to meditate there. This is something I never wanted to share openly because all such places get spoiled because too many people start going there. But within this group, I think it's worth mentioning. Maybe once you come to India, we can all go there. In fact, I've discussed with Pal, and she's also very keen to go there with me once. It's a
Definitely.
really powerful place.
Definitely go.
Thank you, Guruji. I just wanted to share that.
So, Garhmukteshwar is the part of Ganga where all these cremations and all happen a lot, very near to Delhi. Uh, I think. Thank you, Archana.
Why didn't we ever go there? We just didn't know about it.
Guruji, no, we never went there. I was always curious to go there, but it just doesn't happen. You pass by that place, we cross it all the time, but we never went in there. But this taxi driver was very nice and he told me that, yes, I can take you. So that's how I managed to go there.
Why didn't you take me there?
Sorry, Guruji.
So why didn't you take me there?
Guruji, I wasn't aware how the place is. I had heard about it and nobody talks much about this place. The only place people go is the ghat there. Ganges Ghat is there, which we crossed many times. We have crossed many times, but I didn't know that there is actually a small such spiritual town there. It's an amazing town. It has a very, uh, though it's like a typical growing Indian town, but when you go inside towards the temples and ashrams, it has similar feeling like Vrindavan in a certain way. Not exactly because Vrindavan is like Krishna's town, but this is the town of Siddhas. This is the town of sadhus. It's a very interesting place. And I was surprised. I had no idea there's a place like this.
Yeah, we would go and search such places out of the way, places that weren't frequent. Archana and I and others would, and they weren't frequented by the public very much. We drove around certain areas and Vrindavan out of the way, not in the town of Krishna, but all outside of town, and up in the Himalayas too, and yeah. So there's so many others. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that you can spend lifetimes going to. These are all to the devotee. These are all enjoyable because these are places on earth that are that have the presence of God for those who can see God. And so they're always enjoyable. Like Archana said, she didn't want to leave. Through timeless births, this is the Guru Gita, tens of millions of repetitions of mantras, tens of millions, sacred vows, all purifying austerities performed, all of the excellent fruits attained are merely by the satisfaction of the Guru. Those who perform purifying austerities only by the strength of their knowledge and do not perform selfless service as expression of love to the guru are unfortunate, meaning they missed an opportunity. This is true. It is true. O giver of boons. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, the divine seers, ancestors, and celestial beings, the attained beings, protectors of wealth, and other munis and sages, all men of wisdom. Only through the guru do they attain. The attitude of the guru is the highest place of pilgrimage. And all other places in comparison are without meaning. All the places of pilgrimage reside in the big toe of the guru's foot. I'll give her boons.
Sorry, Gurudeva. I am trying to get in the satsang.
Yeah, all these places of worship exist within you. Everything exists within you. Shiva exists within you. Kali exists within you. All the divine places of worship exist within you. Literally, you can access them. Through the guru. It's only through the guru that you can access them. That you can be shown the way, right in front of you. This is how it's done. I saw it. I'll just break the mood and just speak of it for your knowledge. This past several moments, I saw many divine beings in a beautiful, beautiful place with large lotuses, not little lotuses, but large lotuses, as if they were seated inside a lotus, full form, and then beautiful chanting was happening behind me, not in front of me, but behind me. beautiful chanting of hundreds, the same voice, chanting some mantras I didn't understand. This goes back to Sunny was asking how to do this. By the means of recitation. Now this is referring to the Guru Gita, but this is life. The Guru Gita is life. It's not a book. It's your life. If you choose to read it, it's the Guru Gita is your life. This is what you read. All places of pilgrimage reside in the big foot of the Guru's foot, the giver of boons. By means of recitation, one attains victory. Recitation means repetition of the Guru's instruction to you. This is the recitation. Some only have the Guru Gita, so they recite the Guru Gita, as I'm reading it. But those have a guru. The recitation of the Guru Gita isn't the book, isn't the scripture. It's the practice of what's taught. And the recitation means over and over and over and over and over, consistently and regularly. That's recitation. So a mantra, you recite the mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. The real recitation is, the powerful recitation is the performance of the Guru given instructions. That's the Guru. You're following the Guru's, reciting the Guru's instructions day after day after day after day after day after day after day. Every day of a lifetime, every day is a recitation. How many days are there in a lifetime? There's 365 in a year. You live an average life. Unfortunately, the average life, I just heard this yesterday. They're comparing the average life in different countries. The lowest average life is in India. Maybe that's a good thing. So if you're fortunate and having perfected Guru, the recitation of the instructions every day until your life is over, is your liberation. But performing recitation in a confused place, this goes to the question, one attains the fruits of confused actions. So when you sit for Kriya practice, have it, you're doing the Kriya with, you're dedicating your actions to your Guru, not to the thoughts coming from the heart. Because whatever desires you have while you're doing your sadhana, you're going to attain the fruits of those desires. Whatever you do in sadhana, you'll attain the fruits for that. Meaning Shiva is the giver of boons for tapas. If you perform tapas, which is denial of every pleasure of the world, every action of the world, that's tapas. It's called the austerity. But if you do those austerities with something else in mind, some desire in mind, we obtain that desire will be fulfilled. Now, I was saying earlier about desires. you don't have to be pure before you start to perform the actions that the Guru gives you. The Guru Gita is the actions that the Guru gives you. That's not possible because they go with you. Wherever you go, they go with you. So you go into the holy place, which is the recitation of the Guru Gita, the repetition of the Guru's instructions, that they go with you. And so the Guru gives you the boon of that desire. And that the desire will be fulfilled. I told you about how all of my desires were fulfilled, every single one. As I acknowledged them and understood that wherever I went, they also came with me. I can't renounce them. How can I renounce them? They're attached to me. We think about us, we're attached to something. It's our ego. I think we're the doer. So I'm attached to something, so I have to renounce it. You can't. I tried. I couldn't renounce any desire. I understood that desire is attached to you. How can you renounce it if it's attached to you? If you do your tapas, and if you do your spiritual kriya, your astral kriya in particular, all your desires, those are boons. Your desires are fulfilled, and when it's fulfilled, because you're not creating more desires, it's done. It's finished. So let's say you're in a very tumultuous life, and you desire peace. If you acknowledge everything about you, not just the good, not just the bad, but the good and the bad, and take that with you when you do your tapas, which is isn't that what happens at the time of instruction, the time of initiation? The Guru is giving you practice. The Guru is telling you what to do, and then instructs you to do that day after day after day after day, which is reciting the Guru Gita. The Guru Gita is that instruction over and over and over and over. And if you continue with that, all your desires will be fulfilled, meaning they won't continue to be attached to you. So let's say you're attached to somebody. Like I was attached to puppies, for example. And I did that intentionally. I knew that I took on the suffering. I knew that I suffered for the puppies. So I knew that I would suffer. But most people, they do things and they don't know they're going to suffer. I love that sweet, adorable little puppy. Let me take care of it. And then it gets hurt, or it dies, and then you suffer, or it gets lost and you suffer. And it's just one example. There's all sorts of suffering. So well, it's to say you have a real problem that you can't, you just can't shake. It's attached to you, and you can't shake it off. You can't do it. If you recite the Guru Gita, which is the instructions of the Guru, practice the instructions of the Guru, the boon is given to have that removed from you. And when it's removed, you can feel it. It's like there's a weight off of my shoulders. Whatever's clinging to my back is no longer there. I can see that person that disturbed me so much. I was in love with that person, for example, and they disturbed me so much, brought me so much heartache and so many problems. And I no longer see that person that way. It's just gone. And I look back and it looked like how silly that was. It doesn't bother me at all anymore. But I suffered for puppies for a long time, but I don't suffer for puppies anymore. I still take care of them, but when it comes time to bring them to the people that adopt them, I don't suffer the separation anymore. It's just gone. I didn't try to do it. It's just gone. There's lots of things that have been removed from me that I had problems with, and everybody has problems with something, and it's usually that one thing that they keep hidden from others. It's the secret, and it's usually their real problems. All of you know this is true. You keep it to yourself. You don't tell others about it. You might be occasionally have a really good friend, somebody that'll listen, that you might share, but there's always more that you would never tell another soul. You keep secret, but it's something that bothers you, and you know you need to be rid of it. And then, of course, there's open things that are common to everybody. The means of recitation, one attains to victory. One attains to infinite fruits, renouncing all confusion, actions, and depressing places are removed. Recite the Guru Gita in a journey, in a battle, in a dilemma, or any limitation. The recitation confers victory, and in death bestows liberation. All the actions of the children of the Guru attain perfection at all times. Now you could take the Guru Gita, and but we have a guru, and so that you're initiated. You wanted initiation. You took initiation. That's your practice. Practice that. And what is that instruction? It isn't just Kriya Yoga technique practice. All of you know that, but it's the astral practice, which it means it's the spiritual practice of that Kriya, that particular Kriya. But it's also satsang, attending satsang. That's very important because you're maintaining contact with the Guru. If you no longer maintain frequent contact, the connection becomes a little less, a little less, a little less. And then service, being prepared to serve the Guru and what is needed. That maintains close contact. Because you're doing something physical for the Guru. Not everybody has that opportunity. I understood that as a young boy, that's what I wanted the most, is I wanted to do service to the Mahatmas, service to the Gurus. And I always had the opportunity to do that physically. And so I took every opportunity to do that physically, knowing that was very rare. But some don't have all of these boons, but they do have the boon of the Guru Gita. So this is a recitation of the glory of the Guru Gita. But I know from my insight that the Guru Gita, of course, just like everything else, comes from within you. And so the true Guru Gita isn't the book, but the connection, just like the holy places we go to, even for somebody who doesn't have a guru, if they go to these holy places, and if they have the Guru Gita, and they practice the recitation of Guru Gita, which is reading from the Guru Gita, the book, that also is a strong connection. That's also a gift for boons, because you're concentrating in the words, meaning the the actions of the guru and the instruction of the guru through reading the scripture. But of course, if the guru were to be there in presence, you would put down the scripture and you would be with the guru. But the book is for a limited time. The guru's form is for a limited time. So everything dissolves in spirit. You're going to continue to be tormented and confused and go down, take wrong directions, take wrong paths until you have clear sight, clear vision, meaning wisdom and clarity. And that's all within you. That's all your birthright, meaning birth of your soul. It comes with God gives you everything that He has. The power, the knowledge, the truth, the wisdom. And those who truly desire that, God gives them the boon, the living guru, to give them instruction and the wisdom to follow that instruction. The wisdom that, well, this isn't just, the guru isn't just a man who lives in a place. This is his lineage. This is his story. It isn't that. That's it's on the surface. It's deeper. It's deeper than that. But think of guru. Think of Shiva as the giver of boons through the guru. And your guru has a continuous vision of Shiva. I have a continuous vision of Shiva. And everything that's created is created and operated and destroyed in the vision of Shiva. And but I see that sometimes very dramatically. I told you the story. Again, this is with Archana when we were going to from Vaishali to Gangaram for a treatment. And I was in the back of the car, and I literally, especially, it started as we were crossing the bridge, and the big long bridge, and I literally saw Shiva in each individual, the form of Shiva, and continually. And I was awestruck by that. I'd never seen that before. But I've always known that Shiva was my guru. The very first image that I procured, the first time I went to India, the very first image is that image that I have on my Facebook profile. And that's it's an old painting that is on paper, and on good stock of paper. And I purchased that at the first ashram that I stayed in, and then my second was that by the same artist, and that's in some of the pictures of Kali. Those are my who I worship, who I see, who I serve. And so that was my first exposure in the world. Was you could say it's a piece of paper with a painting on it. It isn't. It's I've seen for myself. It's the image of Shiva is the living presence of Shiva. Will it be on paper stock or in vision or a person or a place or a holy place, a cremation ground, places that are dedicated to Shiva? So it's always good when you start your sadhana, your tapas. First, clarify, why am I here? That means being alert, doesn't it? Being alert in life is always, why am I here? Why am I doing this? This is what I'm doing. I'm doing this for that reason. You don't just wander around. You always have purpose. You always have reason. So you do that at the start of the meditation. So that's usually why meditations are started with salutations to the gurus. It's for that purpose. It's where you start. So acknowledge while you're there, before you start. So that way you have focus and you have purpose. And then dedicate that time that you spend in your sadhana that morning to God, to Shiva, to the Guru. Shiva will give you the boons of the fulfillment of your desires, the fulfillment of your worldly desires, and the fulfillment of your spiritual desires. That's a fact. And those who practice this know it to be fact. And those that don't practice it, they'll know it sometime, but the knowing will be delayed. Don't delay it. Don't delay. Delaying it just means more suffering with the danger, the possibility of going further away. These little side paths that we take here and there because we're weak and we're not strong, or we get deluded by something, can take us, in fact, down a path that we stray off the path and we find ourselves that we've gone way, way, way off track. And it can be hard to get back on, but you can get back on immediately, because you have the grace of the Guru to put you right back on the path. You don't have to take the same path back. The path to the straight and narrow is quick, but the path off the straight and narrow is usually a long, wandering path. Okay, that's it for today. See you tomorrow.
Guruji.
Okay.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Guruji. Pranam,
Thank you, Gurudev.
Guruji.
Pranam Gurudev, thank you.
Pranam, Guruji.
Ram Guruji.
Pranam
Thank you,
Guruji.
Gurudev.
That's it.
Yes, sir.